Carry on, try to recollect your knowledge.
Yes, sir.
Try to recollect your knowledge.
Sir,
What else?
yes, sir. Single inheritance, multiple inheritance, sorry, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, and hybrid inheritance.
Very good. So when there is
Multiple
one,
inheritance is not a part of, yes, sir. We don't have multiple inheritance in Java.
correct, correct, correct. Any reason why it is not there?
So we can use interface instead of multiple inheritance in Java.
That means Java does has multiple inheritance, right?
Sorry, sir.
That means that Java does has a multiple inheritance.
Sir, we don't have multiple inheritance in Java, but we can use it as an interface in Java.
So how do we say this? Java does has a multiple inheritance, but through the implementation of interfaces,
Okay.
right? So
Oh,
let's understand this in detail also. Basically, why it is not given by you have two classes and all these things. This is the diagram which I drawn is an example of single inheritance,
okay, sir.
which is the
Mm,
class B is a subclass and class A is a superclass.
yes, sir.
B is deriving properties from A. Correct.
Yes, sir. Correct.
Now, what it means when I say B derives the properties of A, it means that all the properties in class A is coming in class B.
Yes, sir.
Vice versa is not true. Means this B is not having any property inside A.
Yes, sir.
So properties of A are coming in B. Properties of B are not coming in A.
Yes, sir.
Understood?
Yes, sir. Understood.
Now, how it is there? There is a keyword given called as extends in Java to use.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, see an example where we have so what I'll do, I have a class called as inherit1
Yes, sir.
where I write some method like say void my method 1 and where I just mention some SOP message. Now I will use a class over here as a class my class where I use my method 1 this I mention as 2. Then I give a message over here. Now the main is inside inherit1 class, right?
Yes, sir.
And I have a my method 2 over here and my method 1 over here, which is respectively in the classes called as inherit1 and my class.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this already has also my class 1. Now this class inherit1 want to inherit this class. That means there should be some relationship between this and this. So how should we do it?
Yes,
This
sir.
class inherit1 we write extends
Extends my
my
class
class 1.
one.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And in the main, which object should I create? I should always create the object of subclass, which is inherit1.
Yes, sir.
And through this object, I can call my method 2, which is a method of the class inherit1, as well as I can also call my method 1, which is the superclass method.
Yes, sir.
So when I run this program, I can able to access the properties of both the classes. I can get the output as in my method 2 as well as in my method 1.
Yes, sir. Correct.
This is what we are saying is that when we talk about inheritance, when the class A is there and B is there, we extend the properties of A, means the properties of A can be accessed in B, vice versa is not true.
Yes, sir.
And we'll always create the object of subclass, and through that object we can call the subclass properties as well as superclass properties.
Yes, sir.
Right? So
Yes, sir.
now in this case, if you go back to the very basic concept that we learned on the day one, that after compilation of the program, there is a dot class file getting created.
Correct, sir.
So I have saved this program as inherit1.java, right?
Yes, sir.
So after compilation, I should always get a class file with inherit1.class.
Yes, sir.
Does it also create a class file for this my class one?
Sir, I think according to me, it will create class file for class inherit one.
Only,
Yes, sir.
not for my class one.
Yes, sir.
Achha, let's assume that there is no inheritance available over here, right?
Yes, sir.
And I have a class A and class B in the same program. First of all, can I write two classes in one program?
Yes, sir.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Let's see what I say over here. I say class A is there, and then I have a class B, right?
Yes, sir.
Assume that I have some method over here, say display A, and some message is there in class A. And similarly, I have display B method, and then I write B over here. Okay.
Yes,
Now
sir.
I wanted to save this file. I have two classes. First of all, I had written the class A, open and close, and then class B, open and close. So I wanted to save the file. By which name should I save it?
Uh, sir, can you scroll down the program?
Yes, I'll just tell now. Can see it.
Sir, we cannot use two classes in a same program. For if we want to use two classes in a same program, we need some connection,
The
so,
relationship.
some relationship. Yes, sir.
Mhm. So according to this is not possible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is not correct. This is perfectly possible. We can write two classes in the same program, even if there is no relationship.
Okay.
Okay, so now question is that by which name should I save it?
So,
Should I save it by a.java or b.java?
Sir, I'm confused. I don't know.
Just mild guess. If you wanted to save this file, by which name should I save it?
Sir, A.Java.
Reason, it is the first class.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's see, I save it as say a.java. So let's have, so anyway, I'll create a folder called as by your name called as GUI in this, and I save it a.java. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Now I wanted to compile this program. Will my program will compile?
Sorry, sir.
I wanted to compile this program. तो ये program compile होगा क्या?
Sir, we don't have main method in this program, so
So it will
so
not
it, it
compile?
will it will so it will give some error. Yes, sir.
What kind of error? Man is not found?
Yes, sir.
Acha, I repeat my question. Will this program will compile? Think carefully. See the program. I hope you can able to see entire code in front of you. मेरा सवाल क्या है कि ये प्रोग्राम कंपाइल होगा क्या? फर्स्ट आंसर
Sir,
जो आपने दिया था,
compile.
हाँ, टेल मी.
सर कंपाइल होगा लेकिन एरर भी आएगी इसके साथ
अगर
क्योंकि मेन
कंपाइल
मेथड.
कम नहीं, अगर कंपाइल होगा तो एरर कैसे आ सकती है? अगर एरर आती है तो कंपाइल कैसे होगा फिर?
क्या?
है ना, ये कॉन्ट्रडिक्टरी आंसर है ना, ये दोनों एक साथ नहीं हो सकते.
यस सर. यस
तो
सर.
क्या होगा? दोनों में से एक कोई तो भी आएगा, तो कंपाइल होगा या फिर नहीं होगा. Good, I asked this question. I thought you are aware about this. समटाइम्स ना कभी कभी बेसिक्स में ही बहुत हम थोड़ा सा गड़बड़ कर देते हैं.
यस सर.
अच्छा, this program, now let me, what does a compilation means, or rather any programming language, whenever a compilation happens, exactly क्या होता है compilation में? कोई भी language की हम बात करते हैं, not necessarily only in Java. What does generally compilation means?
सर इसमें सिमेंटिकल और सिंटेक्स एरर चेक होती हैं.
Correct. And if the syntax and semantics are correct of that programming language, a respective compilation process happens, and that file will be created.
यस सर.
That's the job of a compiler.
यस सर.
Whether you follow the syntax and semantics of the programming language.
यस सर.
Now, just again go back to this program, see in front of you, does in this program I am violating any syntaxes which is given in Java language?
नो सर.
जो क्लास का सिंटैक्स था मैंने प्रॉपरली लिखा हुआ है, जो मेथड का सिंटैक्स है वो भी मैंने करेक्टली लिखा हुआ है. आपका जो डाउट थे मन में कि दो क्लासेस नहीं लिख सकते, बट यस वी कैन राइट टू क्लासेस इन द सेम प्रोग्राम, सो दैट इज आल्सो टेकन केयर ऑफ. सो is that I am violating any rules of regulations or semantics of the syntax of Java language?
नो सर.
So why it should not get compiled?
Sir, it will get compiled because
It
syntax.
should get compiled. Yes, it
Yes,
should
sir.
get compiled. It will get compiled because I am following the semantics of the Java language.
Yes, sir.
Okay, there will be no error. Neither it will say ki, it doesn't contain the main method, because I am still only into a compilation phase.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, so I'll compile this program. Now see, I get a message compiled finished successfully. Right?
Yes, sir.
So that means the program is successfully compiled. Now we have learned in Java language that once the file is successfully compiled, it will create a .class file.
Yes, sir.
Now this program is got compiled, so by which name the .class file is created?
So class, what are you saying? Class B file is not class B file is not compiled.
No, no, no. I'm saying is that this file is compiled. Now just we have seen it,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
इसका मतलब इसकी .class file बनी होगी
Yes, sir.
as per the
A dot.
Java compiler is done, right?
Yes.
So my question is that by which name the .class file is created? Is it a .class or a B
A dot
.class or
class.
a, only a .class?
So A dot class.
A .class, right?
Yes, sir.
Why? Because you are saved it by a .java.
So A dot class and B dot class.
Both .class file?
Yes, sir.
Sure?
Yes, sir.
100% sure.
Yes, sir.
Good. So it will create both .class files, a .class also and b .class also.
Yes, sir.
I'll show you. I'll open that folder, say Juhi. So where I have kept it, yeah, this is the folder. So if you see over here, we have b .class as well as a .class.
Yes, sir.
So it is immaterial whether you have saved this file by any name. I can get the .class file compiled if there is no errors in my semantics. Then the number of classes that is written inside a Java program, that many .class file will be created.
Yes, sir.
अगर मेरे प्रोग्राम में 100 क्लासेस है, 100 class will be created. So immaterial how many classes you have, moment you have open curly bracket of class and close curly bracket of class, that means .class file will be created.
Yes, sir.
If there are two classes, two .class file will be created. If there are 10 classes, 10 .class file will be created. Immaterial whether you have a relationship between these classes, whether you have a main or not having the main.
Okay, sir.
Are you understanding?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I'll just copy this program, put into, okay, I'll create a package name and say Juhi here. And inside this Juhi, it's a, I don't write main inside this. I'll put this as a program which I written, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, surely this program will compile and .class will be created. Now, will this program will run?
No, sir.
Because main is not there.
Yes, sir. Because main is not there. So according to me, this program will not run.
Sure, sure. It's exactly correct. There is not main is there, so B did not run.
Yes,
So I'll write the main inside this. And I will create the object of say B class over here is new B. Obj dot.
अच्छा फिर देख करके भेजा भाई वाला आप दोनों हो जाओगे फिर देख लिए फिर क्या करें बस देख लिए भाई बोले अब देखते हैं बात करते हैं अभी क्या रहती है अभी वो सुकरपुर में रहती है नहीं आएगी फिर
Correct the main inside this.
yes,
Okay. But what I done is that this inside of B I written a main.
वही कि अच्छा हो
and
जाए
the file which I said is
हमारे साथ
a.java.
जो तुम
So
Yes,
I'll
sir.
try to run this program. So it asks for you that where does main contains of. The reason for this is the class which you are saving is saving by a.java, whereas the main which you are written is written inside the B.
Yes, sir.
So this is not allowed. So you have to, what you have to do? You have to put this main method inside a class A. Correct?
Yes, sir. Correct.
Now I say A, obj is new A, and then I execute this A method over here. Now I'll run this program. It will run. I'll get output called as in class A.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Now, can I write main also in this class? You got my question?
Yes, sir.
So I have a main inside a class A also and main inside a class B also.
I have never done this kind of program, but according to me, yes, we can do it because we can use
Yes.
more than one main method.
Correct, correct. Again, very simple reason, we are not violating the syntaxes of the program, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is perfectly allowed in Java. Okay, so
Yes.
when I run this program at this moment, okay, now it will ask you which you want, A or B. So I'll say B over
Okay.
here. Okay, so in this case, as of now, I'm not calling that over here because it's still A dot display only, right? So if I say B over here and obj1, which is new B, and obj1 dot display B. So this is now perfectly fine. I'll compile last कौन सा करना है आपको B करना है A करना है. So I say B, so it will get in class B, right?
Yes, sir.
And if I run this with by asking for A, like A, it will get in class A. So in Java, we can have the main separately in both the classes. Now this class A and class B are not into relationship.
Yes, sir.
So that's the reason I need to call it separately.
Yes, sir.
Now assume that this I'll comment it. Okay. And in this class A main method, as I'm calling the display A of A, I also wanted to call display B of B. I repeat my question. I want to call it display B of B also in class A main method.
Yes,
And
sir.
both these classes A and B will not be into relationship. तो मैं क्या करूँ?
Hmm. So can we use friend function? Friend function, yeah.
अच्छा, why do we require friend function in C++?
Java. Oh, oh.
No, your question, rather your point is good, but then we need to go back. Then why do we require friend function in C++? If you have any idea.
So if we want to access the feature, the functions of another class, we'll use friend function.
But which features?
If we want to use the function of another class, then we'll use a friend function.
No, your answer is correct, but halfway correct. I just wanted to ask the question that you said you wanted to access the features of another class.
Not features exactly, sir, but we can use if we want to access the functions method
Understood,
of another
understood,
class. Yes, sir.
understood. The feature means the variables and methods, right?
Yes, sir.
So I wanted to ask you that which feature, that is which method and variables of other class you want to access, for which you use the friend function or friend concept in C++, because friend is not there in Java.
Oh, yes. And function is not on this.
So that gives you probably I rather I should thank you that you have raised this question, because probably I am not able to discuss this. Uh, that will give also a discussion that why it is not required in Java. But first we need to understand that जो मैंने सवाल पूछा था कि what kind of features which you wanted to access in other class. I'll give a hint. You need to understand about the access specifiers.
Yes, sir.
So now, can you got the answer?
Sir, to access the private and the protected members of the class.
Not protected. Protected comes only in the inheritance part is there.
Okay.
So when you come in case of C++,
Private.
yes. If you wanted to access private member functions and private member variables in other class, we have to make it friend.
Yes, sir.
That too if there is no inheritance involved.
Yes, sir.
Reason C++ default access specification for variables and functions in a class is always private.
Yes, sir.
तो जब प्राइवेट हम कोई वेरिएबल्स या मेथड डिक्लेयर करते हैं क्लास के अंदर, तो उसका एक्सेस स्पेसिफिकेशन सिर्फ उस क्लास के अंदर ही होता है.
Yes, sir.
उस क्लास के बाहर अगर हमको करना है तो फिर उसको पब्लिक कराओ, लेकिन आप पब्लिक करेंगे तो हर कोई उसको एक्सेस कर पाएगा.
Yes, sir.
So in case if I wanted to make a provision in my program that only those classes which will be a friend to this class can able to access private member function,
Yes, sir.
not other classes, then make that class or that function as friend.
Yes, sir.
ये C++ का concept है.
Yes, sir.
Now in Java, why don't we require a friend concept? Reason, the default access specification in Java, when you declare a variable or a function or a method that we call that, is not private.
Okay.
It's default, neither public also there.
Okay.
मतलब for example, this display A function which I declare in a class A, ये private नहीं है class A के लिए, ना ही ये public है.
Yes, sir.
ये फिर क्या है? ना public है ना private है, तो फिर क्या है? ये default है.
Yes, sir.
मतलब अगर इस डिस्प्ले ए फंक्शन को मुझे क्लास बी में एक्सेस करना है तो मैं डायरेक्टली कर सकता हूं. हाउ? आई कैन क्रिएट ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ बी, सॉरी ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ ए डॉट डिस्प्ले ए. आई कैन से आई कैन डायरेक्टली राइट ओवर हियर डिस्प्ले बी में आई कैन राइट न्यू डिस्प्ले न्यू ए इन ब्रैकेट. या ऑब्जेक्ट बनाओ या ना बनाओ, मैं डायरेक्टली कॉल कर रहा हूं. See over here. Clear?
Yes, sir.
अगर ये प्राइवेट होता C++ के जैसा तो मैं एक्सेस नहीं कर पाता उसको.
Yes, sir.
मुझे एरर देता वो कि यू कैन नॉट एक्सेस.
Yes, sir.
इसीलिए जावा में फ्रेंड फंक्शन की जरूरत नहीं होती है.
Okay.
Understood?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है. So we'll come back to the discussion. What we had is that कि I wanted to access this display A in display B, or rather in class B, without creating object of, or rather Anyway, I'll come back to the basic thing. I have a class A over here. We have a display function. Then I have a class B and a display B function. So in A, we return a main function, and through that I'm calling a display A function. So what I'll do over here, I'll also create the object of B class is new B, and obj1 dot display B. O is capital, right? Now see what I done. We done in the main method. We create object of A also and object of B also, and respective
Yes,
functions are getting called. Clear?
Yes, sir.
And there is no inheritance is still there. Class B is neither deriving class A or class A neither deriving class B. So as of now, I have not used any kind of relationship between class A and class B. But still I can
Yes,
access the
sir.
properties of other classes.
Yes, sir.
How? By creating object of that class.
Yes, sir.
इनहेरिटेंस में क्या होता है फिर इनहेरिटेंस में ये होता है कि आप एक्सटेंड कीवर्ड यूज करते हो yeah I'll use what I'll do I'll do a separate program for you so that you can able to so I have say B1 main is inside this and then I have this A class I'll copy it again I'll write A1 over here I'll close this class. Now I have a class B1 which now says extends A1 and being I am extending that class I can only create object of lowermost subclass which is B1 B1 obj is new B1 and obj dot I can have display A. See I have not created object of A1 I only create object of B1 which is subclass
Yes, sir.
and through that I am calling a display so I'll get the output over here B1 extends A1 so what I'm doing I just so you get in class A1 right.
Yes, sir.
The difference between this and earlier program we don't have relationship so we are required to create separate object of A and B
Yes, sir.
whereas in case of this program we have relationship so B1 is a subclass and A1 is a superclass so we only created object of subclass through that object I can call the properties of superclass as well as subclass both. So for example if I have a display B method over here and then I write some message in class B1. So this can also be accessed through the object of B1 which is obj.display B and plus I can also access display which is a superclass method.
Yes, sir.
So both output I can see over here. So the advantage of inheritance, the properties of superclass can be accessed in subclass by creating object of subclass.
Yes, sir.
So this becomes a single inheritance at this moment where I have the properties of your superclass can be accessed by a subclass. Right?
Yes, sir. Right.
So what happens in multiple inheritance? In case of multiple inheritance, we have two classes as a superclasses, and subclass can access properties of both the classes.
Yes, sir.
So A becomes parent, B becomes parent, C becomes child.
Yes, sir.
But this is not supported in Java by extending two classes. That means of Java में you cannot write extend A comma B. So let me come back to the coding point of view. So for example, I have say over here as a class C1 and I have void display C over here and I write some message in class C1, then if I write extend A1 comma C1, this is not allowed in Java. If you see, you get error over here. Multiple
Yes,
markers
sir.
of this line.
Yes, sir.
But ये C++ में possible था.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the reason there is that the first one of the features that Java language which you have seen is that Java is very simple.
Yes, sir.
So all the complicated feature like pointers and overloading and operators and so on and so forth has been removed in Java. Similarly, the multiple inheritance by extending two classes is removed in Java. That means you cannot extend two classes by implementing multiple inheritance in Java. लेकिन आप उसमें से एक को इंटरफेस बना सकते हो.
Yes, sir.
So that we'll see later on, because before interface I need to cover abstract class also. But at this moment you cannot extend two classes for a one subclass in Java.
Yes, sir.
So multi-instance by extending two classes is not possible in Java. So this I omit. Okay,
Okay.
then what we have is that we have one more class down. So I have say C over here, and this is say B, and then I have B extending, sorry, C extending B. So this becomes multi-level inheritance.
Yes, sir.
C is a subclass of B and B is a subclass of A.
Yes, sir.
And this level can keep on increasing.
Yes, sir.
At any given point of time, there is only one superclass for a subclass.
Yes, sir.
But that is perfectly possible in Java.
Yes, sir.
So these two types of inheritance is possible in Java, unlike your C++, whereas C++ about all kind of inheritance like simple, multiple, multi-level and hybrid. Right?
Right, sir.
Okay, fine. So now if I continue with this example, so I have say class C1 which I say extends A1, and now B1 extends C1.
Yes, sir.
So B1 becomes the lowermost subclass. Ideally always I'll create object of lowermost subclass, and then to that object I call display A, display B and display C also.
Yes, sir.
So this is possible in case of Java. So this is an example of multi-level. So all three methods are getting called. Right?
Yes, sir. Right.
Okay. Now, have I covered your object reference concept in earlier sessions from implementation point of view?
Yes, sir. Object reference.
But implementation, theoretically I covered, but
No, no, no,
implementation point
sir.
of view?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, okay. So let's see over here, because that is required in case of inheritance also. So what we done is that I'll come back to the program class A and class B without relationship.
Okay.
Right? So I have a display A in class A and display B in class B, and then the main method is there inside your A. So just to avoid the confusion or probably a simplicity point of view, I'll just put this class above class A. It doesn't matter for the Java because I'm writing main down, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So one method in class B, one method in class A. Created object of A over here, and through that I call it. Okay. Now what I do is that I create the reference of A again now. So I say obj1. It's not an object as of now, right?
Yes, sir.
And this obj1 is mapped to obj. O capital, sorry. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Now see what happened over here. I create object of the class, that means A will get memory allocation
Yes, sir.
because new keyword is used over here. and then through that obj I call display method, which is inside a class A, and now I create reference of A, which is obj1, and that
Yes, sir.
reference is mapped to the object which is already created. And now with this obj1, if I call O small, right, obj1 dot display A, it is still possible. Are you getting?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay, so if I run it, I'll get the output twice displayed from the display. So in class A and class A, right?
Yes, sir.
One is with the object, another is with the reference.
Yes, sir.
ये C++ में कैसे होता था आपको मैं एक्सप्लेन करता हूँ. तो a star obj, sorry, pointer variable to that is new a, and then I write obj dot, I'll comment this also, obj dot display a. ये C++ की बात कर रहा हूँ मैं. और जब मैं रेफरेंस बनाता था तो ये मैं
Yes, sir.
रेफरेंस बनाया obj1 नाम से, और obj1 को मैंने एड्रेस दिया obj का,
Yes, sir.
और उस एड्रेस को जो मैंने मैप किया था उसके बाद फिर मैं डिस्प्ले ए फिर से कॉल कर रहा हूँ.
Yes, sir.
So can you now able to understand what is happening in background?
Yes, sir.
Means object is created for A with new keyword, memory allocation happens, then a reference is created which is mapped to the address of, because ampersand is called as address of operator and star is your pointer notification. So obj1 get the address of obj, and through that I am calling a display function. इसका मतलब मेमोरी में क्लास सिर्फ एक बार लोड हो रहा है, दूसरे बार सिर्फ रेफरेंस से हो रहा है.
Yes, sir.
To show you this, do I need to explain this, Juhi, or it's pretty clear to you?
Sir, it's clear.
Clear? So this A
Yes,
is
sir.
there, one is an object and another is a reference.
Yes,
So
sir.
this obj is an object and obj1 is a reference. So obj will be pointing to this class and obj1 is pointing toward this object.
Yes, sir.
This is what is happening.
Yes, sir.
Now this is true in case of inheritance part also. Like let's get back to the inheritance example over here. So what I do is now B1 is a subclass, C1 is a superclass, and for C1 A1 is a superclass. So over here what I'll do is that I'll create the reference of say C1 obj1, okay, and obj1 will be mapped to obj, and through this obj1 I still call display a method. This I'll remove. See what happens. Or probably if you still get confused, what I'm doing is that I'll call the C1 method first. Display C I'll call, not A. C. I am not created object of C1.
Yes, sir.
I create object of B1 which is lowermost subclass. Then through that object I am calling display B method, which is the method inside a subclass. And then I created C1 is obj1, that is the reference of this particular class. And
Okay.
then through that reference is mapped to the object of superclass, that is subclass, sorry. And through that I am calling a display C function. Just like C++ concept, absolutely no difference in that. सिर्फ फर्क क्या
Yes,
रहेगा
sir.
इसमें कि आप यहाँ पे ampersand नहीं यूज कर पाओगे.
Yes, sir.
And you cannot use star also over here.
Yes, sir.
Pointer notification is not supported in Java.
Yes, sir. Object.
So this is what happens in the inheritance part. Keep this in mind, is very important concept of interfaces and abstract classes.
Okay.
क्योंकि abstract class का सिर्फ रेफरेंस बन सकता है, इंटरफेस का भी सिर्फ रेफरेंस बन सकता है जो आप किसी क्लास को मैप कर सकते हो.
Okay, sir.
Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
This is an inheritance part. So let's assume that I create the class A1 and class C1. Now this display A method, which is there in class A1, is also written in subclass.
Yes, sir.
In class C1, display A method. So what we done, if I consider only these two classes, A1 and C1 are in relationship, C1 is the subclass, A1 is the superclass. So over here what happens is that display method is there in superclass, displays method is also there in subclass. Correct?
Yes, sir.
This is called as overriding the method.
Yes, sir.
So when method of subclass having same name and same signature of method of superclass, then the subclass method overrides the superclass method.
Yes, sir.
So like for example, then when I'm calling a display A method, I'm calling a display A method, I'm not calling over here, so let me call that method. I comment this. So what I do is that I say obj dot display A. Now see which is getting called. This calls overloaded method. Sorry, overridden method.
Yes, sir.
That means ये वाला जो method था वो call हो गया है.
Yes, sir.
Although the display method is declared inside A1 also.
Yes, sir. Override.
In other language, override हो गया. In other language I can say display A method of C1 class hides display A method of A1 class, superclass.
Yes, sir.
So out of these two methods, which is in A1 as well as in C1, only the subclass method is called.
Yes, sir.
So this is called as overriding. Overriding requires inheritance compulsory.
Yes.
And the name of the method and number of parameters, order of parameters, type of the data of the parameters, everything has to be same of the superclass method.
Yes, sir.
मतलब अगर इसमें आप नॉर्मल एक वेरिएबल पास करते हैं int x नाम का, फिर अभी ये मेथड और ये मेथड ओवरराइडिंग का एग्जांपल नहीं है.
Yes, sir.
Because overrides one parameter, overrides without a parameter.
Yes, sir.
So this is an example of overloading, overriding only in case where you have name and signature, everything has to be same of super and sub.
Yes, sir.
Now, अभी overriding तो हो चुकी है यहाँ पे. Display A is there inside C1, display is there inside A1 also. And when I create object of the lowermost subclass and I'm calling a display A method, it only calls display method of C1.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to call display A of A1 also. How should I do?
Sir, if you want to call A1 display A1 method also.
Yes.
So we can use final keyword if we want to avoid overriding.
No, I wanted to use overriding, but even if the overriding is there, I wanted to call display A of A1.
Through the reference object, sir, I think we can call it.
कैसे बताओ? What should I do? I'll create A1 reference.
Yes, sir.
This one, okay, and obj1 is mapped to obj like this,
Yes, sir.
and then obj1 dot display A, right?
Yes, sir.
So let's see whether we got that right. But what we got? We got class C1 display method twice. मतलब कौन सा हो गया? ये हो गया फिर से.
फिर से
ये तो नहीं हुआ.
Yes, sir.
So this is not okay. So this will not work, right?
Yes, sir.
What should I do? I wanted to call this method also, even if there is a overriding.
Overriding.
एक तो बहुत सिंपल है कि आप एक ऑब्जेक्ट बनाओ, A1 का ऑब्जेक्ट बनाओ.
Yes, sir.
और उसके थ्रू आप कॉल करो इसको.
Okay.
But that is against any return. Like for example, अगर मैं A1 का ऑब्जेक्ट बनाऊं, is new A1, and then if I say obj1 dot display A, so I can do that, right?
Yes, sir. Correct.
But that's against the inheritance part because मैं तो normally मैं कर सकता हूँ. See, now you got it. है ना? I create object of A1 in a subclass, but then I can do that without inheritance also.
Sir, we can use super method also.
Correct. So instead of this, we need to use a concept called as super keyword. So what
Yes,
should we
sir.
write? We should write a super keyword in a subclass display method. So I'll write super dot display A.
Yes, sir.
What will happen? It will, even if there is a overriding happens, this will give a control back to the superclass display A method. That will
Yes,
also
sir.
get executed, and this will also get executed. So even if
Yes.
overriding is involved, I can still call a superclass method and subclass method. See over here, I get this also and this also.
Yes, sir.
Very good, very good. Now, I have a constructor over here. So I write constructor for A1. And I write a message in A1 constructor. And then I have, say, C1 constructor. And I write C1 constructor. Now, in B1, I'll create object of, say, C1. And through this now I call obj dot display C, as well as I'll call obj dot display A. What we done is that constructor of C1 and A1 is written separately, and I create object of C1. So जब भी मैं बनाऊंगा, so obviously it will call constructor of C1, right?
Yes, sir.
So let's see how output will be there. So I get A1 constructor also, C1 constructor also, because C1 is deriving A1.
Yes, sir.
So this constructor is also getting called.
Yes, sir. Correct.
You see the output in A1 constructor and in C1 constructor.
Correct, sir.
This is true in terms of default constructor. Now if
Okay.
I write a parameterized constructor, like I write say int x, and now I write in C1 constructor with an int param, so plus x, and I'll call this C1, C1 obj 1 is new C1, and I say 10 over here. And what will happen because of this line at line number 44, this will call which constructor? Parameterized constructor, right?
Yes, sir.
And this will be displayed. But when I create this object second time, okay, you will also see that default constructor is also getting called.
Okay.
That means default constructor of A1 will be called twice. One is with this object creation and second is with this object creation. See the output. See over here. I get in A1 constructor, in C1 constructor. Then display method का output in class A1. Then display C का output and display in class C1 display method. Then when I create second object, I get in A1 constructor again, which is a default constructor message, and C1 constructor with int parameter 10.
Yes, sir.
That means when I create object at line number 44, it calls the parameterized constructor of C1 plus it internally again calls a default constructor of A1.
Yes, sir.
If I write parameterized constructor in A1 also, and I say system.out.println in C1, sorry, in A1 param constructor plus a y, so here. अगर ये मैं लिखूं तो अब ये फिर से कॉल नहीं होगा, अभी भी डिफॉल्ट कंस्ट्रक्टर ही कॉल हो रहा है. सी
Yes, sir.
that means in this is overloaded, in this is overloaded, C1 is overridden, it's not overridden, sorry, you cannot override the constructor, right?
Yes, sir.
Because constructor overriding requires name has to be different, but name has to be same, but name is not same in the
Name
constructor.
is different.
When you use
Yes,
the name has to be different, so we cannot
Yes, sir.
override the constructor.
Yes, sir.
तो C1 का कंस्ट्रक्टर C1 के नाम से लिखा है, जिसमें एक डिफॉल्ट भी है और एक पैरामीटर वाला भी है.
So, but we can call one constructor into another constructor
Yes, how?
with the super keyword, sir.
Correct. So now if I wanted to call a parameterize A1 constructor, so I'll write super over here and I pass 20 in this case.
Yes, sir.
Now when it comes to the C1 parameterized constructor call, it will call a super class parameterized constructor, that means this one, not this. So 20 will be copied to y and then accordingly this y will be printed to you. So if I run this program, now you see I get in A1 param constructor 20 and in C1 constructor with int parameter 10.
Yes, sir. Correct.
So even if there is a overloading happening, if I wanted to call a parameterized constructor, always mention super keyword with that parameters to call a superclass parameterized constructor.
Yes, sir. Correct.
Else it will call the default constructor.
Okay, sir.
Now super keyword is there in the method also we are use. यहाँ पे method में हमने लिखा है super dot display and super constructor में हमने लिखा है.
Yes, sir.
So super when we write inside a method, it will call a super class method even if overriding is
And
involved.
it should be always the first statement.
Exactly. So, but in the constructor it should be always the first statement. So
Yes,
keep
sir.
this in mind. Fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is about some basic part about the inheritance concept. Now let's, any doubt you have in this till the time?
No, sir.
Okay. Sometimes in a real-time programming, you declare a class, but when you declare the class that time, you are not very clear that what that class should contains of.
Yes, sir.
So in that case, that means there are some concepts which are probably virtual in nature to you.
Okay.
At this moment, they are not physically implemented to you.
Okay.
So such kind of a concept are called as virtual classes or virtual concepts in C++, and they are called as abstract concept in Java.
Okay, sir.
Like for example, if I ask you, Juhi, can you able to calculate the area of a triangle?
Yes, sir.
Provided I give you the dimensions to you, like length and breadth, right? Or length and height. So you can easily write a method called as calculate area, and you can able to write the body of that particular method to calculate the area of a triangle.
Yes, sir.
Similarly, if I ask you to calculate the area of a circle, you can still calculate it, provided I give a radius to you,
Yes.
or square, or a rectangle, or any fixed shape.
Yes, sir.
If I ask you to calculate the area of a shape, it's not possible,
Yes, sir.
because shape, the dimensions are not fixed. The first question comes in the mind, what kind of a
What
shape
is?
it is.
Yes, sir. What is the
So as long,
dimensions?
yeah, what is the dimension, what kind of the nature of the shape is there, all these things.
Yes, sir.
But keeping the mind advantage of inheritance part, we also know that if we declare a method in the super classes, we can use the same method signature down in sub classes. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we get the advantage of inheritance because it avoids rewriting of the code.
Okay.
So this example will talk about calculate the area of rectangle. That method, if it is already declared in a shape class, it is always easier for you that you can able to use the same method.
Yes, sir.
But when you declare the class shape, that time you cannot able to write anything inside the calculate area method, because that shape is
Yes.
not defined yet.
Yes, sir.
That means that concept is virtual in nature for you. Is only available in the concept, not physically implemented.
Okay.
Such kind of concept are called as abstract class concept in Java,
Okay, sir.
which is the virtual class concept in C++. So let's take an example over here. I'll say right what the class which has one finish. So what I'll do over here, that I'll declare a class, or probably before this let me go into a new one. I'll write class shape, and I say over here void calculate area, and I don't want it to write body of this. And this is I'll save this as a shape.java. See over here, I save this. Now this is a method which is only declared, and that is only in a class called as shape. Now when I try to compile this program, I will get error. What
Yes,
error
sir.
I get? Error which I get is error missing method body or declare abstract. मतलब वो आपको कह रहा है कि आप इसके एक तो बॉडी डिक्लेयर करो,
Otherwise,
के अंदर
declare it as abstract.
या else if you are not sure that what the body should contains of, then declare this class as abstract. Sorry, this method as
Yes.
abstract. Only declaring this method abstract won't satisfy your purpose. The class which contains the method abstract must be also abstract. Like if I save this program and I compile, now if you see over here, the shape is not abstract and does not override abstract method calculate area.
Yes, sir.
Means the abstract method can be only available in the abstract class.
Yes, sir. Correct.
So now I'll compile the program. Now this error is removed. Right. So what is abstract method?
Yes, sir.
Abstract
Right.
method is a method which never contains the body. It only contains the declaration.
Yes, sir. Correct.
An abstract class is a class which only contains the abstract method. At least one abstract method.
Okay.
So I'll copy this now. I'll put into this this one, right? So calculate area is there. And now if I wanted to use this particular class in my inheritance concept, so what I'll do is I'll write extends shape,
Shape.
right? And I need to compulsorily override this method. So otherwise it will give error to you. See over here. The rectangle must implement the abstract method calculate area. So what you need to do is that you have to use something inside this which contains the body of that in overridden calculate area. And obviously I'll create object of rect. C should be smaller here. Rect R is equal to new rect and R dot calculate area. So if I run this program, it will able to run and you will get the output from the overridden method.
Yes, sir.
So this is what is exactly happen inside the abstract class. Now abstract class may contain non-abstract method. What is non-abstract method? A method which contains the body.
Yes, sir.
So I write over here something like display. And this I can call through the object of subclass or dot display. So abstract class is a class which contains at least one abstract method,
Yes, sir.
which I declare over here. An abstract method is a method which never contains body, it's only a declaration is there.
Yes, sir.
Now I have a rectangle R created over here. Now can I create object of abstract class?
No, sir. We cannot create the
Object of the abstract class. Reason why?
reason. Mm,
क्यों नहीं कर सकते?
um,
क्यों नहीं कर सकते abstract class का object?
um, sir, because in abstract class we don't use constructor. So
Okay. Anything else? I'll come back to this same thing in some time. What else? कुछ आ रहा है ध्यान में? क्यों नहीं कर सकते, ऑब्जेक्ट बना सकते उसका?
Sir,
Acha, I'll reverse this question. Probably you'll get the answer. Which classes, or rather, when we create the object of the classes, what happens?
we allocate memory to the classes.
Exactly. So can I able to allocate memory to abstract class?
No, sir.
Because nothing is there inside that class.
Yes, sir.
So if something is not there in that class, why should I allocate the memory of that?
Yes, sir.
When
Correct.
I can't allocate the memory, why should I create the object of that class?
Yes, sir. Correct,
Are
sir.
you understanding? So
Yes, sir.
अगर ऐसी चीज जो सिर्फ लॉजिकल कंसेप्ट में ही है, सिर्फ कंसेप्चुअल थिंग है वो, तो उसका ऑब्जेक्ट नहीं बनता है. जैसे इफ यू रिमेंबर डे वन व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट द ऑब्जेक्ट एंड अदर कंसेप्ट्स और ओप्स कंसेप्ट, आई टोल्ड यू दैट आई एग्जांपल ऑफ creating a building or constructing a building, right?
Yes, sir.
So in this building we first create the blueprint, which is the logical framework.
Yes, sir.
We once we decided we have to construct a building. Okay,
Yes, sir.
we first create the blueprint of that building. We create the architecture
Yes,
of that
sir.
building.
Yes, sir.
So that architecture that what we created, based upon that architecture, we exactly create the replica of that architecture into a physical instance, which is an object.
Yes, sir. Correct.
So that abstract class is just like your that blueprint.
Yes, sir.
It's
Correct.
only a concept. There is no point creating that concept into a memory, right?
Yes, sir.
So abstract class never contains or never cannot create the object of the abstract classes. Okay, so when I try to create over here something like this, when I say over here like shape S is equal to new shape, you see you'll get error. Cannot
Yes, sir.
instantiate the type shape. Okay, but you can create the reference of it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and this reference
Correct.
can be mapped to the object of subclass, and through that object I can call a display method.
Yes, sir. Correct.
That is possible. References of abstract classes can be created,
Okay.
and that references can be mapped to the subclasses.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I'll come back to the question. You said that you cannot write constructor for the abstract class, right? Where there is nothing to
Yes.
construct.
Yes, sir.
Now see what I'll do. I'll write a constructor over here. Shape. And I write system.out.println in constructor. Okay.
Yes, sir.
This is abstract class shape and I'm writing constructor for it. According to you, you should not write, or it is not possible.
Yes, sir.
But there is no error. है ना? एरर आ रहा है क्या इसमें? एरर नहीं आ रहा है. Like for
नहीं,
example,
sir.
what I'll do is that I'll put it over here. See, I written a constructor. I'll compile. It is successfully compiled.
Yes, sir.
So according to Java or any programming language, you can write constructor in abstract class also.
Okay.
लेकिन ऑब्जेक्ट नहीं बना सकते. है ना?
Yes, sir.
I'll ask the question towards the end of the once I finish this discussion. क्यों बना सकते हैं ऑब्जेक्ट क्यों नहीं बना सकते, फिर कंस्ट्रक्टर क्यों लिख सकते हैं, right? Now whether this constructor will be ever called?
No, sir.
Sure, I have created the object of rectangle. That means there is a constructor over here also, which is a default constructor. I'll write over here. I'll write a default constructor over here, and I'll say system.out.println in rect constructor, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, when I create object of rectangle, you know that this will be getting called.
Yes, sir.
Now, this rectangle has a superclass called as shape, and shape also has a constructor, which is a default constructor.
Oh, yes, sir. In that case, it will
Now,
be called.
now in this case, it will be getting called. Sure.
Yes, sir.
Should I run the program? See, I get both the constructors.
Yes, sir.
So constructors are there always in abstract classes also and can be called by a subclass constructor.
Okay.
And you know the reason why constructors are written. Constructors are written generally to initialize the member variables and member functions of other classes, right?
Yes, sir.
So
सर अगर हम
maybe,
ऑब्जेक्ट
हम्म, हम्म,
सर अगर हम ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट करते हैं abstract क्लास का तो सर वो एरर प्रोवाइड करेगा.
शेप क्लास का, राइट?
यस सर.
हाँ, एरर प्रोवाइड करेगा वो.
सर फिर कंस्ट्रक्टर क्रिएट क्यों कर रहे हैं हम इफ वी आर नॉट क्रिएटिंग द ऑब्जेक्ट.
करेक्ट. तो हम कंस्ट्रक्टर क्यों लिख रहे हैं?
यस सर.
रादर थोड़ा सा सवाल ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि अगर मैं ऑब्जेक्ट नहीं बना पा रहा हूँ शेप क्लास का जो एब्स्ट्रैक्ट क्लास है, तो उसका ऑब्जेक्ट बनाने का क्या मतलब होता है? क्योंकि वो तो मेमोरी लोड कभी नहीं होगा.
यस सर.
क्योंकि वो तो सब वर्चुअल कंसेप्ट है, उसमें कोई भी फिजिकल इम्प्लीमेंटेशन हम नहीं कर रहे हैं.
एग्जैक्टली.
तो फिर जब ऑब्जेक्ट नहीं बन रहा है या हम बना नहीं पा रहे हैं तो कंस्ट्रक्टर फिर उसका क्यों लिख पा रहे हैं हम? ये इसलिए हो रहा है कि जैसे मैंने बताया कि अच्छा, ओवरलोडिंग कंस्ट्रक्टर, सॉरी ओवरराइडिंग जो कंस्ट्रक्टर होता है उसका मीनिंग क्या होता है? सॉरी, कंस्ट्रक्टर तो ओवरराइड होता है नहीं है, सॉरी सॉरी सॉरी. अगर हम कंस्ट्रक्टर लिखते हैं तो कंस्ट्रक्टर का मीनिंग क्या होता है? हम क्यों लिखते हैं कंस्ट्रक्टर?
सर बिकॉज सर हम कुछ कंस्ट्रक्ट करना चाहते हैं.
वेरी ट्रू. सो
इनिशियलाइज
फॉर इनिशियलाइज करना चाहते हैं. करेक्ट करेक्ट.
Yes,
सो
sir.
जब हम इनिशियलाइज कर रहे हैं तो वी आर इनिशियलाइजिंग द वेरिएबल्स एंड ऑब्जेक्ट्स ऑफ अदर क्लासेस.
यस सर.
लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल, अभी मैं एक यहाँ पे ओवरलोडेड एक कंस्ट्रक्टर लिखता हूँ करेक्ट का, जिसमें मैं 2 पैरामीटर ले रहा हूँ. ठीक है. और
Yes, sir.
इसमें x को मैं कुछ असाइन कर रहा हूँ और y को भी कुछ असाइन कर रहा हूँ.
True.
Now, being this class is in relation with the shape class, I wanted to get the advantage of inheritance where I wanted to extend some properties from shape class also.
Okay.
What I'll do is that I'll take one variable over here, sorry, one constructor over here, which is a parameterized constructor.
Okay.
ठीक है. और इसमें मैं लिखता हूँ कुछ x की वैल्यू से 100 and y की वैल्यू से 200. And now this I'll make it comment. And I will call a superclass constructor with some values say 100 and 200. So इससे क्या हो जाएगा? और यहाँ पे मैं थोड़ा सा अलग लिखता हूँ P और Q करके, और मैं यहाँ पे लिखता हूँ int result is P plus Q plus So what will happen because of this? I need not to again reinitialize the variable x and y. I can directly use it in my program over here in subclass constructor. I can say plus x plus y. अब इस तरह initialize करना पड़ेगा where I say int x is say 10 and int y is say 20, and the super should be always the first statement. So what will happen because of this? I can still able to utilize the properties of the superclass constructor over here, which is x and y, and can be initialized in a subclass. Are you getting it?
Yes, sir.
तो मुझे अगर कुछ ओवरलोडिंग और ओवरराइडिंग का एडवांटेज लेना है तो मैं उससे ले सकता हूँ by just initializing the constructors.
Okay.
That's the reason abstract classes may have the constructors, but you cannot able to create object of that.
Okay, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
I will share these assignments to you. Let me just show you to you first what it contains of. How much you are comfortable with array concept?
Sir, I am comfortable with array concept.
Because in this assignment, except this fifth, which I have make it into a bold, there is no need to solve this assignment. But some assignments also cover on array. Like for example, write a program to obtain transpose of matrix. Write a program to
Okay.
obtain multiplication of two matrices. Then you have one more assignment is there on array concept. So some assignments are there on array also. I hope you
Okay.
probably able to understand it. So
Okay,
these
sir.
are some set of 20 assignments that we have over here, and
Okay, sir.
this you can use with the concept of application oriented programming in Java, where you can have some basic programs for some of first time members, and whether year is a leap year or not, then given
Okay,
character
sir.
is a special character, and so on and so forth. So
Okay,
I'll
sir.
send this assignment the moment I close our discussion. You try to
Okay,
accept
sir.
this and solve this assignment. If you have any problems, you can ask me tomorrow,
Oh,
and we
okay,
can
sir.
continue accordingly.
Okay,
So
sir.
tomorrow we'll start with interface concepts and some part of collection API or some part of some util package of Java, and then we
Okay,
can
sir.
proceed further.
Okay, sir.
Fine. So anything else you wanted to discuss before I close
No,
my
sir.
session?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. I'll share this assignment on your email ID, get it solved, and then accordingly we can meet tomorrow, right?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.